Hi everybody, how's it going? Thanks for watching. I'm outside of our calving barn here. We have an issue with this curtain. As you can see, the right side here is about a foot and a half off the ground. The left side is on the ground, and they are controlled by the same gearbox. So there's a short piece that slides inside the pipe that rolls that curtain up that connects to the gearbox, and that's sheared off. I'll show you guys that here in a second. Before we get too far into this video, I've heard your concerns about the mic quality. I'll try to do something about it. I haven't really had a chance to look into it much. I can do something with the settings. A little bit frustrating because this camera I'm using now is a lot better video quality than the previous camera, but apparently the sound quality is lower even though I'm using the same mic. But I have heard you. I'll try to do something about it. So in the meantime, I'll try to maybe talk a little bit more clearly. The way that this curtain works is there's a gearbox in the center here that we just run with a drill, cordless drill. There's a coupler here and a coupler on this side, and this side is actually sheared off. Actually, really simple to fix. This slides in there. The other piece is bolted on there, so it's 3 bolts. Remove those 3 bolts, slide the new piece in, get it lined up, put the new bolts in, tighten them up, and we should be good to go. More than likely what happened is someone over tightened this, rolling it up, or just over time. This is made out of aluminum and it just shears off. We use this curtain a lot more now that we have these group pens. The group pens of calves from 6 weeks to 3 months old are behind this curtain. They're on the outside, a lean-to, I guess, of our calving barn. With those calves in those group pens there now, we are controlling this curtain quite a lot more than we used to. So with more use, you have more wear and tear, so that could be part of it as well. But we'll get those 3 bolts off, get the new piece put on there, and then we should be good to go here. I don't know if you guys can quite see that very well, but got to put together, just slid this new piece into the shaft here, and then put 3 bolts on. I didn't film any of that because it's not really that easy to look in here. But this is about as easy as it gets on a repair. So we'll roll it back up. We had put it down a little just because it's a little windy today. It's not the warmest, so I like to keep this it a foot off the ground in days like today. We have a drill on here. All that drill does is run this gearbox, and it'll run that curtain up. Well, I'll hop inside here and look at the calves while we're here. We're inside here now. We generally always leave it open a foot unless it's snowing, because snow tends to roll off the roof and come in underneath that curtain. Even when it gets pretty cold, we like to leave it open a foot just to keep some airflow coming in here. But when we keep it at about a foot, it prevents air from hitting those calves straight on. I mean, that's the theory anyways. That's my theory on that. It hits the feed troughs and goes up, because we don't really want to draft on these calves either. But this has been working pretty good in here. Look at these calves while we're in here. They're all a little excited because I was working on that curtain. Everyone's up, no one's laying down. I've told you guys this before, but in general, really happy with how the calves are doing in these group pens here. We weren't totally sure how this was going to turn out, but we've been using these pens now for over a year. Started in January of last year, and I think the calves are doing really well. They look really nice. The last group of calves that we moved, I just looked at my notes. We always weigh them when we move them from here to our heifer barn. They're typically around 300 to, they're typically around 100 days old, and they've been weighing around 300 pounds. In this last group, they were on average 110 days old, and they weighed 330 pounds on average. And I'm pretty satisfied with that. I'm pretty happy with how the calves are growing in here. They look really healthy. They're really nice size. How are you guys doing? It has saved us a lot of labor doing it this way. These calves used to be in hutches. If you've been following the channel for quite a long time, we had hutches outside here prior to having these pens, and calves would be in our calf barn to 6 weeks old, roughly, depending on how many calves we have coming through. And then they would go into a hutch, an individual hutch, up to 2.5 months old, and then they'd be in a group hutch for 2 weeks, groups of three or four, and then they would go into our heifer barn and be in groups of, I mean, it depends again, but 15 to 20, depending on how many heifers we have coming at any given time, but 15 to 20. And we always felt that step from 3 to 15 or 3 to 20 was too big for the heifers, and this step here from individual pens to 6 to then 15 to 20, it seems to make a big difference. And we're keeping them in here maybe a little longer, or trying to anyways, but we're also working on cleaning light fixtures. I'll go show you guys that in a minute here. I don't know, you guys probably can't see that on the camera, but a lot of these light fixtures, they have gotten pretty dirty over the years. They're filled with dead flies, and yeah, don't let out as much light as they used to. So we are going through, pulling them down, cleaning them, washing them, and putting them back up. And yeah, that's what we're also working on today. I'd walked over to the guys working on the lights, and they were just gonna back out to go back in, so I thought I'm gonna walk in the calving barn. Just walk through, and I happened to see a cow that had calved, and it looked like there was another calf, so I didn't have my camera with me. I left it in the side by side, but this cow just gave birth to twins. She had laid down and was licking off her first calf, and the second calf was just sticking out the back end. Second calf was in backwards, so I'm glad that I saw it when I did. It only took her a couple of pushes to get the calf out. I was able to get the bag off the calf's head. I didn't even check if they were bulls or heifers. It doesn't matter. They're crossbred calves, and it doesn't matter if it's a bull or a heifer. But both calves are awake and breathing. So yeah, good thing I got her when I did, because that could have turned out not so good for that second calf. I pulled the second calf over by the cow. We'll let her lick them clean. Watch out, girls. Third lactation cow looks like 10,250. Got lucky there. Typically someone walks through these pens about every 30 to 45 minutes. I'm not sure when the last time would have been, but it's possible by the time somebody would have been there, it would have been too late for that second calf, especially with it being backwards like it was. I think I got there just in time. I'm in our barn behind the milking parlor here. This is where we are working on our lights. Sam and Brian are up there. They are taking the light fixtures down, and then Refugio and Jose Luis are cleaning them, and they're bringing them back and forth. They're putting a clean one on, taking the dirty one off, putting the clean one on, and going to the next one. This lift that we're using here, we actually just purchased this lift when my mom and dad were in the Netherlands a couple weeks ago. Ian and Eli, my two kids, and I, we drove to Dickinson to look at this used lift. It was, I thought, relatively fairly priced. Has a lot of hours on it, but for what we're going to do with it, I think it'll do the job. We've got quite a bit of work we can do with a lift like this. I mean, fixing overhead doors, cleaning doors, fixing insulation in the barns, cleaning the fans, pressure washing doors. I mean, working on the curtains of the barns. we'll get our fair share of use out of this. I mean, we've always have rented a lift from our electrician or from a rental company once or twice a year to do some of that work, and yeah, that's not free either. So it'll be nice having a lift on the yard here all the time. Hopefully we still get a lot of hours on it, but it was a good time to buy it when the boss is out of the country, to buy a piece of equipment. It's later in the evening here. It's around 11:30. Had one of the guys called. We had a 3/4 inch water pipe in the parlor burst that goes to actually only one hose that the guys used to hose down the milking units in the parlor. And they didn't know which valve to close, so they called me. I came and shut the valve. Well, it's actually broke right off where it comes out of the concrete wall, so not much I can do about it right now. Just shut it. We'll deal with it tomorrow. Thought I'd come look at the lights in the barn while I'm here. Now it's dark outside. See if it's any lighter than it was before, which I can't really say that. What I should do is stop in one of the other barns before I go. But I thought I could maybe finish the video here. So my original plan for this video was to talk about some comments that I've had recently, and I've had some in the last few years that I've been doing the YouTube channel on the size of our farm and whether we're a family farm or not. And definitely don't have a problem with those comments. I mean, I love to have you guys comment on my videos, and I like to reply to the comments as much as I can and like to answer as many questions as I can. But I kind of feel like I could address it maybe and kind of explain how we got to where we are, why we are where we are, and maybe what the future holds, or where we could potentially go in the future. And I'll maybe keep it short, and hopefully you guys have some questions, some comments, and I could maybe do a part 2 to this. But could maybe start with just a quick history of where we came from and how we got here. So my great grandpa Van Bedaf originally started by renting a farm in the Netherlands. I don't really know the whole story, but I'm assuming he had a job in town maybe, and was looking to move his family out to the farm, which at that time I would assume that was kind of the opposite of what most people were doing. I would guess that most people were moving from the farm to town at that time. But maybe he saw the benefits of raising a family on the farm and being in control of your own life maybe a little bit better. I'm not sure, but that's kind of the things that come to my mind, I guess. So he started by renting a farm. He passed away fairly early. I think my grandpa Van Bedaf, my opa Van Bedaf, he was in his 20s when his dad passed away, my great grandpa. So he essentially took on the role of running the farm at that point, and partially providing for his family. He continued renting that farm and was later able to purchase that farm, I think either prior to my dad being born or kind of right around that time in the early 60s. And then continued to expand the farm. They put in free stalls and a milking parlor, I think, when my dad was in his teens. Not sure how many cows they milked at that time. Then in the late 80s, when my mom and dad got married, I think they further expanded the farm. I was born in the early 90s. I had a brother and a sister. My mom and dad milked cows there until the late 90s or 2000, somewhere in that area. And at that point, they made the decision to try to look outside the Netherlands for a place to continue dairy farming. The part of the country, or the part of the Netherlands we were in, is there's not a lot of space, a lot of demand for land. Land is very high priced, a lot of competition, a lot of regulation. They didn't see a future in dairy farming in the Netherlands, and they wanted to give us kids the opportunity to become dairy farmers if we wanted to. I mean, kind of like what I think my great-grandpa thought when he started renting a farm. My parents thought the same at that time, and yeah, they looked for opportunities or ways to make that happen. So they relocated the family to Canada. So we went to Canada in 2001. Milked 110 cows in Canada. So we relocated to Canada. I was 9 at the time when we moved there, and then yeah, I've got a younger brother and a younger sister, so they were younger than me, obviously. We were in Canada for 8 years. I mean, it was my mom and dad that did all the work. They milked the cows, they fed the cows, fed the calves. It was them two for the most part every day, almost every day of the year. I mean, still today my dad doesn't take many days off because he really enjoys what he does. But I mean, it was every day. When you're at that size farm, there's just not enough money to go around to have hired help and take a lot of days off because it's just not possible. It's not feasible. So as we got older, the kids got older, we started showing some interest in being part of the farm. And I would imagine my mom and dad had some conversations about how that could possibly work out. Canada has a quota system, so you have to buy quota in order to deliver milk, and quota had quadrupled in price from 2001 to 2007, 2008. So it had gotten extremely expensive to be able to expand the milking herd, and quota really is just a piece of paper that says you can deliver X amount of pounds or liters of milk in Canada, which could go away at any time, and you could still be stuck with paying that quota debt, which was not all the reason, but some of the reason that they then at that time decided to sell the farm and relocate to the United States, which is a free market system. So in 2008, we moved to the U.S., and it's kind of relevant to the point that I'm getting at is through the generations, it's kind of been, the thought has always been, what can we do so that the farm can be passed on to the next generations, or what do we have to do so that the farm can be passed on to the next generation, instead of thinking about, well, we should get this, or this should be the way that it goes. They've been proactive and taken really a lot of risk, taken a lot of chances, made a lot of tough decisions, leaving family multiple times, and so far it's worked out, but we'll see what the future brings. But that's kind of leading up to where we are today. So when we started milking cows here, for 500 cows that first year in 2009, we didn't raise any calves or heifers on the farm. They were all raised off-site. And over the years, I've just grown in both number of milking cows and also in raising all of our calves and heifers on site now, which is really one of the most enjoyable things for me every day, to be able to not only watch the next generation of milking cows, but just to be able to care for them, make sure that they're comfortable, fed well, taken well care of, so that they can be good milking cows when they come into the milking herd. That's really been extremely important to us, and really one of the most enjoyable things for me. But it all plays into what I'm talking about, and making this farm be a possibility for the next generation. And when I say that, I'm talking about my kids, which Ian is 5, Eli's 3, Elise is just about 1, and I've got a sister. They have 2 kids. I mean, hopefully one day they're interested in being part of the farm. I would never force anybody to do what I'm doing, but I definitely want to give them the opportunity to have that choice if they so choose to do so. And when we get to that point, I want them to think that it's a good choice if they do want to take this route, and that they see a future for them. And we really have to be proactive to be able to make that happen. We have to be competitive in the market. We have to be improving all the time. We can't just be doing things the same thing that my dad did, that my grandpa did, and my great-grandpa did, because then the farm would never even be here to begin with if we just thought to do things the same all the time and not have to worry about becoming more efficient, uh, reducing our cost to produce a pound of milk. All of those things just play into it because we're in a global market. We're in a free market for the most part. I mean, there's some debate about that. I'm not going to get into that in this video, but what do we need to do so that the next generation has an opportunity to do what I do? I mean, that's what it's all about for me. What does that mean for the future? I mean, it's at this point, I really like the size that we are because I can be involved every day and taking care of the cows on the equipment side, calves, heifers. I really enjoy that part of it. And then on top of that, be part of the management of employees, marketing the milk, just the whole management of running a farm like this, supplies, semen, breeding decisions. We're at that right size, I think, for me to be able to do both. And a lot of times it feels like too much, but I really do love being here every day of the week. But the nice thing is I don't have to be here every day of the week at a specific time to milk the cows or a specific time to feed the cows or feed the calves. There's more flexibility, and we work with a great team. All of our employees are great to work with. Definitely challenges along the way, because anytime you work with people, I mean, it's between my dad and me as well. You don't always agree 100%. It's just about trying to find common ground and trying to get everybody on the same page. But that's, again, maybe another thing for another video. But for me, I really like the size that we are. We're able to be competitive because we can take advantage of economies of scale. In our part of the country, in the Midwest here, particularly in North Dakota, to stay in business long term, you have to ship full loads of milk and you have to bring in full loads of feed. I mean, it's about as simple as that as a starting point. We're an hour away from the next closest dairy. Our milk has to travel quite a ways to get to the milk plant. It just doesn't make sense to have anything other than a full load of milk leave our farm, because the trucking just kills you immediately right off the top, even if you're doing everything else perfect. It just makes it too much of a challenge in this part of the country. And again, I should have maybe started with this, but what I'm telling you guys and where we are today, I mean, that's not the truth for everyone. It can be very different whether you're in California, North Dakota, Pennsylvania, Canada, the Netherlands, Australia, New Zealand. It's the good thing about farming, the good thing about dairy farming is it doesn't really matter how you do it, because there's different ways of doing it in every single different situation, and not one way is the right way. I'm definitely not saying that the way that we're doing things here is the only way to go, because that's far from the truth as well. But it's the path that we've chosen, and I'm fairly confident that we're able to be competitive, we're able to be efficient. I mean, it's like I said, it's a free market, so you have to be competitive in that free market to be able to stay in the business, because it is at the end of the day a business. Just like any other business, there's consolidation. The least efficient eventually drop out. The most efficient have to take that place, because the amount of milk consumed by the American people is increasing year over year. The amount of milk that's exported out of the US is increasing year over year. So milk production is actually increasing all the time, but the number of farms is decreasing. And I mean, today there is a lack of milk in the upper Midwest. There is a lot of milk plants looking for milk. Our co-op that we're a part of is doing a major expansion, and they're looking for 1 million pounds of milk a day to help fill their expansion. And that's going to come from existing farms in the co-op, within the co-op, that are expanding. It's going to come from new farms within the area that are building and looking for a home to send milk to. It all plays into that, just being efficient, being, I guess the way that I always look at it is we need to be in the top 20% to be able to stay in it long term. And if we're not moving forward, if we're not getting more efficient, if we're not lowering our cost to produce a pound of milk, then we're moving backwards, because the rest of my peers, they are going in that direction, and a lot of them are going in that direction fast. It's quickly changing all the time. I mean, our costs and inputs are always increasing, and the price of milk, it's increasing some, and it can be pretty volatile, but it hasn't increased at the same rate that our inputs have increased. So we just have to be more efficient with what we have available to us, do a better job with feed, do a better job formulating rations for these cows to make them more efficient at converting that feed into milk. It all plays into it. Kind of starting to ramble on at this point, so maybe I'll finish the video here, but I would love to maybe get some feedback, what you guys think. If you disagree with me, that's great. I don't have a problem with disagreements. I'd like to hear some of your feedback, and maybe I could have another video on this to maybe address some of your comments or thoughts on this. I will say, again, at the size that we are, as far as animal comfort and animal care, I think that we can do an excellent job at this size. There's a minimum of 4 people on our farm, 24 hours a day, one of them being one of our herds guys. Anytime a cow needs assistance with calving, anytime a cow needs any treatment, there's someone here 24/7. There's milking staff here. Cows are milked around the clock, and they are very well taken care of. Feed is pushed up every 2 hours, 24 hours a day, so that the cows have access to feed. And it's, in my opinion, we are a family farm, and we have the privilege to work with 23 great employees that help our family farm move forward and take care of our cows. And a lot of our guys, I mean, all of our guys, they really feel like family to me. Our first employee still works for us. We have probably half, I would say, that are close to have been in employment with us for 10 years or around 10 years. And a lot of them do feel like my family, so it's not necessarily direct family, but where do you make that line of what's a family farm or not? Is it 1 employee? Is it 2? Is it 5? Is it 10? I think it's this farm provides for my family, my sister's family, my brother, my mom and dad, and hopefully in the future it's my kids, my nephews, my nieces, maybe if there's some to come on my sister's side, even on my wife's side. If any of my nieces and nephews on my wife's side have any interest in being part of the farm, I would love to make them part of our farm here. And what does that mean for our farm in the future? I mean, it comes down to that next generation. If we have 1 person or 1 nephew or 1 son, 1 daughter that's interested, then maybe we don't need to look at expanding the farm anymore, and we can just continue to become more efficient. If we have 4 or 5 that are interested, well, now we have to have a different conversation, because we can't have that many people that are looking to have a management type role on our farm with the same amount of cows that we're milking today, or unless we diversify into other areas like beef, or maybe on the cropping side, harvesting our own feeds, which we don't do today. But that'd be a conversation for then, and that's not going to be until 20 years down the road. So we'll see where things go, but I think we'll leave the video here. I always appreciate you guys watching. Questions, comments, post them down below, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one.